Hi, I'm David Weegenaar. I bring you chess sessions daily, other than that of Sundays, for obvious reasons. So here we go. I'm going to show you my pawns in action, what pawns can do. You know, pawns are great. Chess players love their pawns, or should. So here we go. Here's someone who loves their pawns, which is me, of course. And here we go. I'm just going to show you this blitz game, 5-minute, that happened and occurred on chess.com a few days ago. And my opponent is 2,052 rating points from the Ukraine. Okay, here we go. E4, E6, knight f3, d5, e5, f5. So my main move that I'm known for in New Zealand, d4, c5, c3, b6, bishop g5, which promotes the idea of me playing my queen to d7, which I do, so that I can actually now play my bishop out to a6, bishop takes and knight takes, and there's no queen a4 check to win my knight on a6, which would be loose in that case, because basically it wouldn't be check. I'd take the queen with my queen on d7. So I would have played that eventually, because it's quite thematic, this idea, even though I've played f5 in the French. That's not usually the case for black to play. So bishop e2, now I can play the bishop a6 as previously mentioned, and my opponent castles and I take, and then I go h6, biff the bishop. If the bishop goes to h4 to the square, then I just play g5, and I'm going to win a piece for at the most 2 pawns, and maybe some difficulties thereafter, but I should be okay. So bishop d2, a little bit hampering the maneuverability of the knight on b1, which is still undeveloped, and so I continue on with a developing move, knight c6 and dc5. That's okay. bc5 I don't mind, because now my pawns are nicely adjacent here, and there's still more pawns to join the fray. Now we have a3, which here white is clearly planning to try and push b4. Okay, so that's the idea. They're trying to play b4 here, which is neither here nor there really. It would be a bit annoying if white gets a pawn on b4, so I play a5. Now this is a prophylactic, preventative, kind of almost blockading move, but it's not blockading, it's just holding it back and that sort of thing. And now if white would now play b4 here, then they can play it, but it's just going to lose a pawn really, because if b4, then I just take here with this pawn here, a5 pawn, a takes b4, and then white can only take back with this pawn, cannot play back with this pawn, because I just go rook takes rook for a free rook. So that's no good, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's only 1, 2 on the protection of b4 move by white. So bishop e3 comes from white's hand. Then I play g5, which kind of annoys the bishop again. So it goes back to here. So, I mean, I'm not saying g5 is the best move in the world, but I'm saying that white's definitely mucking around with their dark squared bishop, let's face it. Knight ge7, a4, here comes this knight out to another new square instead. But I sort of can work out very, very quickly, everyone can do this, that the knight's not going to get there on time to give me a checkmate on d6 and f7 check, or whatever white wants to do, because they're just a little bit too late for that sort of occurrence. So I play knight g6, knight a3, bishop g7. Now this pawn on e5, white's major pawn in the centre, is going to lose its sort of existence in life. So white plays knight b5. This ends up with, this knight ends up looking at really nothing to do on b5. Knight g e5, knight e5, knight bishop e5, not knight e5. If I play knight e5, then I can run a little bit troublesome here. If I play this, we'll just have a look at this. White would have this move. I'm not saying it's any good or anything, but I don't have this move, sadly, because of here, check, winning my queen, or just knight check here, and I can't take the knight check in my king and my rook on a8. I can't take this knight on c7 because my queen is pinned to the protection of covering up for the check that would result on e8 by white's opposing queen. So that would be no good. So here, if that was the case, if I'd gone knight e5 eventually, then the move I would play here now is knight f7, but white can come into queen g6 and just be a wee bit annoying kind of thing, but it's still very, very good for black. Now I hope I haven't stuffed it now. Bishop g7, and here we've got I'll just get the mouse off the playing field. Here we have no squares for white to attack now for d6 or c7 check, because the bishop is also defending. So if queen h5 check, I merely just interpose my queen with queen f7, and the resulting play would be different than that of the game. So rook e1, there's no worries here, I just castle, because the bishop on e5 is defended, of course. So g3, threatening to dislodge the bishop on e5 so that white could win the e pawn back, is easily rectified by rook a e8, and if f4 here now, I can just take it from my point of view and look at what happens next, or I can just play bishop f6 or something to that effect. So it's pretty easy going here. Queen g7. Now if f4, it would be a mistake. So if f4 now, this would be a mistake, as I would just take, and the only thing that can happen here, which is pretty sad, is bishop f4, and then I just take back with the bishop, and the pawn can't take the bishop on f4 because it's queen check to the king. Obviously white could try something like this, but I just don't really think it's worth getting into too much, because it's just going to be great for black. So here white plays rook e2, a little bit sad, bishop b8, just going back home, and here I was expecting white to play rook a e1, like doubling the rooks up on the e file, but played rook to c1. Okay, didn't really worry me at all. e5, b4, ab4, cb, and cb unit. Okay, and then c4. Now this is a pawn waiting. Look at these pawns. Now look at these pawns of mine. They're kind of just great, and so my opponent is now meeting my sort of bastion of pawns, as I like to call it. h4, f4, chomp, chomp with the pawn, not the queen. I don't really want to have the queens off, I want to have the queens on. And here is the result, is king g2. What did white miss here after king g2? because they want to put their rook on the file or something like that. The horrible thing for white here is f3, and my opponent resigned. And that's the end of the session. I hope you enjoyed it. All the best with your chess, and I look forward to bringing you more games of mine on chess.com. Thank you.